Hey everyone, back with another Sledders video, and today we're going to be doing a total beginner's guide to the game for those new players who are maybe struggling or just getting into the game. Before we get into that, little update on me. I know I've been gone for a while. I've been really busy with college and life in general, but I have some videos planned out ahead. But make sure to drop a comment down below if you have any ideas or things you want to see, and I will try to take those into consideration as well. If you're looking to stay up to date on Sledders or find some friends to play with, check out the Sledders Discord. I'll have it linked down below and I'll throw it up on screen. Aside from that, let's hop right in and I'll start with the menu layout. One thing to mention if you're playing on PC is I recommend picking up a controller, as it's going to make playing this game a lot easier. I'll start right off in our general settings. I'm used to Imperial system, so I have my units set to that. I like to use track speed instead of GPS, just to kind of give an idea of that one thing. My rotate mini map is off, instrument panel on, other stuff kind of off, and driving stance I leave on only for first person, as I don't use the other perspectives as much. As for riding settings, the only ones I worry about here is make sure your wrong foot forward is on hold. This will be a lot easier. Leave the rest of this on default. Basically, when you're on trails, it's going to make you sit. When you're off trails, it's going to make you stand. And your steering's mostly going to be off when you're in snow, so don't worry about that. Keybinds are all default. Don't worry about that. This game does run a little not so great. I have trouble running it. I personally run it at 1080, even though I'm on 1440. I have my UI turned up. Mine runs fine. I do have my FOV in first person a bit higher, as I prefer that. The rest of these settings change as you prefer. I have motion blur off. That's preference. Don't like motion blur. That's basically it for our options. Now let's actually get into a bit of the game. As for customization, you can basically edit your driver for the most part. Pretty basic stuff. You can change color by clicking on this. You have all these to pick from, along with some secondaries. You can go ahead and look through all that. That's kind of the overview of those. As for sleds, they do have some crossover trail, utility, retro if you feel like messing around with those. I prefer to stick on the mountain only snowmobiles, and I'm more of a Polaris long track user, so I use the Pro RMK 165. Sometimes I switch to the Shredder DS 4100 if I'm feeling like it. Don't really mess with skidoos and not much of a KD rider myself. Sometimes I'll use the shorter track Polarises, but for the most part, I stick to my Polaris build. And same thing with these. You can go to tuning. They have lots of different decals you can mess around with. You can change your skis and customize those colors, your bumper, some other stuff. Pretty straightforward. All the buttons and layouts are there. Show you how to do that. This is my current one. I have just black and orange, kind of matched with my rider, as this is my main build. That's pretty much the overview of that. Once we jump in here, you'll see they have a good variety of maps, some newer than others. First 5 are in the base game, and these last 2 have been recent additional maps. If you want to, you can get into modding this game and get more maps. That'll be for another day. If you guys are interested, I can cover how to mod. A good idea to understand these maps is you can look at the trees, steepness, and size. So if you're looking for something more challenging, such as like woodlands, you got more trees, you got more steepness. Or if you're looking for lots of trees, you can go on the valley and it's very steep as well. Or if you're really looking for something quite difficult, you can go to drainage that has max trees and steepness. And I can confirm it is a very difficult map. But for now, we're going to stick on probably just the hills to kind of show you guys the basics. And we'll find a couple little hills to go up just to show you how that works. So once you're in the game, you'll see you have map in the bottom left. You have, if you have it turned on in the settings, you have your leaning left and right. As you can see, as I lean, it'll show that, as well as your speedometer, as well as a little bar at the top that tells you which way you're facing. If you want to open the map, you can hit the little share button on controller, and you'll see the whole overview of the map. Once you're exploring, you can place these little markers. I'll show you that in a second, and you can basically move to that marker whenever you want once you have it placed, but you do have to physically travel there in order to do it. As for perspectives, you can click right on D-pad, both for Xbox and PlayStation. You can change which riding perspective you prefer. Most of them are a little interesting. I prefer first person, but you can do other ones as well, where the camera kind of is more third person, as you can see. Kind of up to your own preference. I prefer to stick with first person. Zoom out for a second here. If you want to reset the snow, you can hit left on the D-pad and it will reset all tracks in the snow. If you're ever having issues with ruts or you get stuck somewhere, that can help you kind of reset. Let's go back to first person here. If you want to dig yourself out and you get stuck, you can hit circle or B. And basically that allows you to pick up your snowmobile and dig yourself out. You can use left joystick to move around, and then you can use your right one to rotate the direction. This can be very helpful, especially on sides of hills, to kind of position when you need to go sideways instead of pointing straight up, because you need momentum. That is essentially all the basics. There is a reverse function, but I'll let you know now, it does not work at all. So I don't recommend ever using that, as it doesn't really work. As for the basics for moving your snowmobile, on controller, your right stick will be steering your skis. Left stick will be leaning, which is primarily how you ride. So you have left leaning, right leaning. Then you also have your side lean or hop over. I don't know a specific name for this, but you can hop over left, right. So if we hop into this perspective, you can see that the character kind of hops onto one side or the other, or you lean. And how snowmobile work is you're primarily leaning to turn. So when we get going here, kind of want to lean back and then give it more gas. And it's a lot about feathering it. Right now, I'm really just using trigger. There we kind of sank because I wasn't leaning back. So you do have to add some down trigger onto this. So you want some down trigger. You want to pull back a little bit. This just allows you to kind of sit on top. You kind of want to just practice going straight, maybe letting yourself sink a little bit and trying to go again. Kind of get a feel of how you kind of ride. As for turning, we're going to do counter steering. So as a feeling too, you probably want to do this, but as you see, you go the other direction. So instead, you're going to aim left and lean right. That's how we're going to turn. Pretty basic. You can start light. Don't do it hard or you will do something like this and then you're just going to get stuck. You want to be very light with those turns and then kind of lean to them. You can slow down if you want to go wider and then kind of boost out of them. If you want to do tight turns, it does take a bit more practice. But again, if we want to go right, turn left and lean. The biggest thing, don't be throttled all the time because you will get buried. That's the basics of turning. You counter steer. Keep it nice and light and smooth. That's how you get some nice turns in this game. Now let's talk about a little bit of hill climbing. Hill climbing is going to involve more leaning forward instead of leaning back. This map is not going to have many hills that require leaning forward, as you do need a lot of vertical. But let's see if I can find one over here, kind of give an idea that once you're going up the hill, kind of have to lean up more than back. So here we're going to want more gas because all these bumps. We're kind of aim. Listen, as I'm not really holding the trigger down, we're kind of feathering it. So we're going to side hill here. Lean up on that hill. Now we're adding, once my tip comes up with that, you want to lean forward. Is the biggest thing for beginners. You don't want to also hold that trigger down again. Another big focus, especially once you get into more maps with lots of trees, is make sure you're looking where you're going. If I want to shoot between something, I need to be looking there. And you kind of have to plan ahead as well. Another good tip for if you want to make a abrupt turn, is if you're going straight, let off the gas and brake a little bit. It'll help drag your back end down and allow you to turn easier. So say if I want to do a quick turn now, allows me to switch real quick, go back this way, because it kind of sinks us down, allows us to do a quick turn. Whereas if we just try to turn quickly, it takes a second. So again, quick way to do turns, especially through T's. let off your gas a little bit and hit that brake. It allows your back end to do a little bit of a swing in when it sinks like that. That's essentially the basics to this game. You don't really need to use the leaning. It leans pretty hard, and I use it very rarely on very steep side hills. I prefer not to even use it myself. As you can see, you can mostly do all your turning just with the basic leaning and steering techniques. Some also fun things you can do is you can let off that gas and pop some wheelies. As you finesse that, kind of slam a fret in and then give it some gas. Lean back a bit and you can do some really fun wheelies. Just like that. A lot you could do with the game. Quite a fun thing to do. Just mess around and figuring it out. But I hope those tips help as well. Some other settings that I can mention real quick. Once you're in the game, you can have environment. So you can have fixed time. So this allows you to set the time of day if you want to ride at night. Or if you want it to be like early morning with like sunlight. Or you can have it on automatic where it will kind of move. You can also mess with the weather and have it kind of switch between different ones depending on what you're feeling. You can also change the snow condition. I prefer powder or soft powder just because you can do a lot more turning and side hilling easier in my opinion. But if you are like struggling a bit, you can try firmer or semi-soft, as I believe they are a little bit more forgiving in getting stuck. We also have photo mode. If you say you want to do some photo stuff, you can go into that through here, which allows you to do photos. Or if you're already in game, you can enter drone mode by hitting up on the D-pad, and now you can kind of fly around. It's good for scouting if you want to kind of scout a route, but you can also directly enter photo mode from here if you want to do that. Take a picture. That's pretty much the basics. There's not a whole lot to the game. It's just a lot of practice, a lot of figuring it out, and understanding. Again, the counter steering, throttle control, and leaning are the biggest things that are going to help you succeed and be able to go wherever you want. Let's jump into a little bit steeper map just so I can show you a bit more on the hill climbing. All right, so we're back in the map selection. We're going to go to drainage. Drainage has a lot of trees and steep stuff. I guess while we're here, we can kind of show you. These are all my markers. So I can spawn at any of these now that I have them placed. And the way to set a marker, as we go right up here for a second, I'll show you. So as you see here, I'm leaning way up on my left joystick as I'm doing this. So anytime those skis are in the air, it's going to be quite difficult. And you have to really let off the gas and make sure you're also pushing forward on your left joystick and leaning forward. Okay, so now that we're far enough away from that checkpoint I have set, if I press triangle or Y, you'll see that a new one marker was added where I'm sitting here. Now I can spawn at that anytime I want. And you can, I don't think there's a limit on markers. You can also delete them all if you want to reset it. But aside from that, it's kind of just free to explore, free to do what you want in this game kind of thing. Another tip is as you're hitting a bit of a lip, like one of these, you actually want to let off and kind of let your track ride on the surface before you give it some more gas. Especially going up steep hills. If you just hold the trigger when you come up over a little lip, you're gonna flip yourself or you're gonna bury yourself really quickly. Let's get down into these trees over here. I'll kind of show you how I kind of ride here. Looks like we might be stuck. Can we recover it? Just barely. It is quite easy to get stuck, I will say. Sometimes you just have to pull back and throttle through it and hope you get unstuck, or you're going to have to dig yourself out. Couple of wheelies there. Drop down in here. Go back up over here. After that tree. Ooh. Can we keep going? Nope, not quite. Anyway, guys, I think that'll pretty much do it for this video. I hope these little bit of tips and tricks of how the game works can help anyone who's getting into the game, or maybe you're struggling to figure it out. If you want some more elaborate detail or want me to break it down even more, just let me know. Aside from that, make sure to get subscribed. So turn those notifications on and leave a comment if you have any video ideas down below, and I will see you in the next one.